We're live, baby. Welcome. Palmcast, the final episode.
Yeah.
Are You My Mother? That's the name of this episode. It's
Yeah.
your boy, Sal.
Hi, everyone.
And it's your boy, Father Palm. So, hope you're doing great and hope you enjoyed this last episode. So, Sal,
Yes.
do you know the answer to the question, Are you my mother? Are you my mother? No, you're not.
No.
Have you ever read the book? I got the title from a book called Are You My Mother? And I think it's a bird or something, gets lost, falls out of its nest. And then it spends the rest of the book, it's a kid's book. And it's asking different animals, Are you my mother?
I
And
think I've
then
heard of it.
and it eventually
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, I got thinking about that because the feast day today,
Yes.
which is
It's
Mary,
Our
the mother,
Lady.
Our Lady, Mother of the Church.
Yeah, and yesterday was one of my favorite story in Acts of the Apostles, the Pentecost.
Yeah, so tell us about Pentecost, and then we'll get into Are You My Mother and all that.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Pentecost is the time where it's been 50 days after Easter.
50 days, yep.
Yes, and
That's what the word Pentecost means.
Pentateuch. So, in Acts of the Apostles, the apostles were in Israel, was it?
Sure.
Was in Israel.
Jerusalem still.
Was in Jerusalem for a feast, like a harvest festival, kind of. And there were all these people from all across the world in Europe, places like Greek and Italy and Rome and South America, pretty much
Not South America.
not South America,
but Africa.
but like Africa, in the Africa region, like Sub-Sahara, and no one could really understand each other. They had no picture back then. Today, you can understand someone who speaks a different language through a translator, but
Right, do a Google Translate.
Google Translate. So back then, they didn't have translators. So a breath of wind came, and the wind, I don't know if you guys can guess this, it was the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit allowed them to understand each other in different languages. So they were able to understand each other in Aramaic and Greek and Latin.
And it wasn't for just for having fun and using
No.
to say, hey, how you doing? There was a point to the Holy Spirit giving them this tremendous gift of communication.
Yes, which I think that is very powerful today, communication in the world, especially
That's what we're doing, the communication
the
center.
communication, exactly.
And we're doing the same thing the apostles were doing.
Yes.
So what was that purpose?
The purpose was purpose of the Pentecost, or
Yeah, why did the Holy Spirit make them be able to communicate to everybody else?
because they were struggling at that time.
And well, what were the apostles able to give them to help them in their struggles?
The gift of language.
To do what?
The gift of language to preach, to go out into the world
To preach.
and teach.
And to preach what?
To preach the gospel, the
The
message of the
gospel,
gospel, and spread
right.
the good news to everywhere in
Which
the
is
world.
what Jesus said. You guys will be my witnesses to preach to the whole world.
Yes.
And go out and teach all nations and baptize them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Teach them to observe everything I commanded you. Behold, I will be with you always until the end of the
Till
world.
the end of the world.
And so Jesus remains with us, particularly by the power of his Spirit.
Yeah.
And then the apostles were filled with that Spirit that came in the form of a rushing wind, and not only wind,
It's like a force.
and it came in the force of this fire, right?
Yes.
The power of the Holy Spirit. And he went out and he allowed them to speak in other languages so that they could understand the gospel.
Yes.
Do you remember it was a big harvest of souls on that day? Do you remember how many became Catholic on that day?
3,000.
Yeah, it was thousands.
Thousands.
3 or 5, I
Yeah.
forget what it was, but it was thousands of people
Mhm.
all in one day.
That's crazy.
You and me, we're happy when we get, a couple hundred views.
Yeah.
And that's not even everybody converting. Talk about thousands of people hearing the gospel and then at that moment deciding, I'm going to become Catholic.
Yeah.
That's amazing, Sal.
We recently had our Ascension Thursday Mass.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
have you ever been a part of, have you ever experienced somebody who wasn't Catholic and then they said, I want to be Catholic? And so you mentioned the Ascension. We had that, didn't we?
We did. So I remember one of the kids was getting baptized to become Catholic,
Exactly.
and
Dalton, shout out to you.
Dalton Lake, shout out to you.
Good job, Dalton.
Good job. Yeah, so it's very like it was very like Ascension Thursday was not only the ascension of Jesus, but also was like a day where your faith gets stronger, specifically for those who got confirmed into the Catholic Church. Because I remember back in COVID, not everyone received the sacrament of confirmation because we
Right.
were all 6 feet, mask, social distance, but it was truly like a beautiful day to see my friends get baptized or and kids getting confirmed,
Yeah.
which honestly like traced back to when I received my confirmation when I was in 8th grade. And I remember that feeling that my grandmother would say that the Holy Spirit, your relationship with the gift of the Holy Spirit. And
Yeah, it's like your day of Pentecost, basically. That's what confirmation is, right? It's
yes,
the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit was already present in your life through baptism,
yes,
but confirmation was like He comes down in a more powerful way, the rushing wind of fire, so that you
yes,
can go out and proclaim the gospel to the world.
yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%.
Which is why you're sitting here. If you didn't have
That's right.
confirmation, you probably wouldn't be doing a show about the gospel with me right
Yeah.
now, right?
This is actually our last show.
And it's our last
Together.
show.
Yeah.
So, we're it's a good show. So
Yeah.
we have this beautiful gift of the Holy Spirit. We celebrated it by as a school by the baptism of Dalton.
Yes.
The last couple of years, we've had kids get baptized in the church, and bunches of confirmations. A lot of it because of COVID, as you said.
Mhm.
Kids just needed to experience that Pentecost. So if there's anybody out there who's listening and you haven't received your confirmation, you're thinking, well, I'm baptized, that's enough. Me and your boy Sal are here to tell you it's not enough.
Not enough.
You got to get confirmed, baby. Experience that deeper relationship, that deeper power of the Holy Spirit. So I encourage you to do that too. Now, why does the church then celebrate Pentecost, and then right away it says Mary, Mother of the Church? What's the connection there?
Because Pentecost is the birthplace of we call Pentecost the birthday of the church.
Yes, yes. And so we connect that birthday and we say, well, if someone's born, they're born from a mother.
Yes.
And then we look, and so the church is our mother, but in a way, the perfect image of the church is Mary, the mother of Jesus.
Yes.
So tell us about what does that mean in your own life, or what's your own perspective on this? Mary is the mother of the church.
True. Well, Mary plays a very big part in the church.
What about in your life?
In my life, well, I remember it was the feast day of Our Lady of Guadalupe. It was back in December, and a miracle happened to me.
Oh,
A
okay,
miracle.
okay,
I lost something.
right.
Okay, I lost my Apple Watch, and
Which is
did.
very important to you.
Yeah, very important. I remember the feeling. I remember when I came home and I'm like, oh my God, I lost my watch. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? I said to Saint Anthony, please come and help me.
Yes, yes.
And I remember my father calling the school up and describing the principal, Mr. Musanti, was describing the characteristics of my watch, and they found it.
Good. Saint
It
Anthony always comes
It
through.
was truly like a miracle that happened, and I now believe like miracles are beautiful things that can happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, miracles happen. Like sometimes we think, oh, it's just 2,000 years ago, Pentecost. There was this miracle. Miracles happen only in the old days.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not true. I did a wake the other day,
Mhm.
and there was a boy there, or he was a young man, and he severely, whatever, I don't know what he was, autistic or whatever.
Mhm.
And apparently he's very like non-verbal
Yeah.
and things like that. So communicating for him is like impossible in ways that we understand.
Yeah.
But what the miracle was, I was just talking about, hey, your loved one is with the Lord now. They're going to pray for you. You should expect miracles in your life that will help you. And as soon as we finished our prayer, this young man who was a relative, to me, I didn't know why it was a miracle, but when he did it, everybody gasped and they were like, oh my goodness, it's a miracle. They got very emotional. And for the first time, apparently ever, he finished his prayer and he said, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, made the sign of the cross. He never could do that before.
It's beautiful.
And right at that moment when I was saying miracles will happen, It happened.
It's beautiful.
And everybody was like, wow, that is a sign, that's a miracle. So that was like the power of the Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
you know?
My dad actually works. Shout out to you, Dad. My dad works with kids on the autism spectrum
Oh,
and kids who have. My dad's a speech language pathologist, and
so he probably understands what the miracle I'm talking about. That's a big breakthrough.
yeah, and my friends from Boston, up in Boston, Andrea and Jen, they work with special needs kids too on the spectrum, similar to my father. And throughout my years at in elementary school, because I used to go to work with my dad every day, it was truly like it was kind of heartbreaking to like see that kids struggle,
Yeah.
that special needs kids struggle throughout in the world, and especially in school with making friends and stuff. And I remember back in my middle school, I was president of student council, and my big thing was I would always want to make the special needs kids included in
Yeah,
everything,
great.
and I made that happen. We would do cove competitions where we would decorate our halls as a country for International Week, and then we also back in '75 we did a big Christmas cove, and you had a certain theme, and I would always advocate for them to make sure that they win.
That's great.
Always.
That's great. And that's that kind of tying it back to Pentecost is
Yes.
again is the power of the Holy Spirit now sends us out to preach the good news, but also to whether someone believes the gospel already or not, we still have to in our actions treat them with that love of the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
And that's what you're talking about. And that's one way that we bring the Holy Spirit's power into the world, definitely. So those are really those are two of the, I would say, three main ways that Pentecost continues to happen in the world is spreading the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Got to do that.
Yeah.
Got to take care of people, especially the most needy.
Exactly.
And the third thing, remember, so we're talking about Mary, the mother of the church. How is it that she is the mother? How is she the one who is connected to our birth? Well, remember at Pentecost, the disciples were praying, and who was in the middle? It was Mary.
It was Mary.
She was teaching them how to pray to the Holy Spirit. She was teaching them how to pray to Jesus now that they couldn't see him anymore. But she knew how to talk to him still. And she asked that the Holy Spirit would be sent upon them. And she was saying, Jesus, let them see you the way that I see you. Could she show her faith? She could still see Jesus, talk to Jesus.
Yes.
And then she gave that gift to them, and they were filled with the same Spirit the way she was.
Yes.
So the third thing is not only preach the gospel, do good to other people, but to pray, to learn how to pray.
And like you said on the announcement this morning, the rosary.
And the rosary becomes that way that it's like we're sitting in the upper room with Mary, and she's teaching us how to pray, and we'll be filled with the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Did you ever pray the rosary on your own?
I have.
Yeah. Did you tell me about that experience? Because I remember when I was probably your age,
Yeah.
I started to try to pray the rosary on my own. I had prayed it with my family or in school or CCD.
Mm-hmm.
But when I tried to pray it on my own, it was difficult for me. It took a long time. I didn't know the prayers, there were distractions. So tell me about your experience.
So I remember, I remember like a couple weeks ago, my grandma was in the hospital, and the second when I first found out, I went straight up to my room, grabbed my rosary, and prayed
Good.
the Our Father and the Hail Mary.
That's the right way to do it.
And she got out of the hospital. She got out. She's
See?
okay now.
Thank God.
And truly, like the rosaries, it's like a beautiful way of praying. I'll definitely be praying the rosary all week for regions and finals.
Good.
And
You know, you're not the only Farrell guy. You know, at Farrell, we really love the rosary.
we
And
do
of course, we did the
rosary
and cannolis. Yeah,
Yep.
that's a big thing for us.
Yeah.
And we did for the first time ever this year, first time ever in school history, and you were a part of it. We did the procession, the rosary procession around the track.
Yes, we did.
And then we crowned Mary and Joseph and Jesus and
We had cannolis.
dedicated our school to the Three Hearts, and then we had 1,000 cannolis. How many cannolis did you have, Sal?
I had like
Tell the truth.
I had one.
I was hoping you had more.
Yeah.
So they were delicious, right?
Oh yeah, 10 out of 10.
From Renato's. Shout out to Renato's and to the Ninos for
Mhm.
getting that for us. Yeah, we might have the Guinness Book of World Record for the most
Cannolis.
rosary and cannolis.
Yeah,
at a
we had a
time.
lot of cannolis.
I don't think anybody in the world's ever done 1,000 rosaries and 1,000 cannolis at the same time.
hmm
So we have the Guinness World Record.
I hope we can do that like next year.
Well, the idea is to do it every year, yeah, to celebrate our feast day, St. Joseph the Worker, which is always the beginning of May.
Yeah.
And May, we always honor Mary by praying the rosary and doing a May crowning. So we combine that on May 1st, and hopefully it's a brand new tradition.
Yeah, hopefully for next year too. As you know, it is our last show together here.
Ah,
I know.
so sad.
Yeah, but this podcast has actually helped me grow my faith deeper so much the past 2 years.
Me too.
I'm very blessed to have done this. I'm thankful for all the comments and and all the love that I get from receiving for doing this, and this has been one of my favorite things to do here at Faribault.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
And you know what I wanted to do is we're going to take the show on the road for the last couple minutes, and I wanted to give everybody the tour of the studio
Mhm.
and just to see what it is now. And we'll also look in my old room where it started
Yeah.
and see what it is. So let's take a quick tour, and then we're going to have to go.
Yeah.
I think I can turn this around. Oh, here we
I
go.
have a Java final.
Java Final. So
Yeah.
this is, everybody, this is the studio. So Sal, kind of give us the tour here, and I'll follow you around.
So this is where Podcasting Club does their podcast. We have our mics, our cameras, and then we have computers. And this was the original. Here was the original podcast studio.
Yes. So we're in Studio B,
And this is
Studio A. This is the original.
where it all happened.
So this is the original flagship program, Palmcast.
Yeah.
And now, as you can see, it's become the podcast network, which is great.
Yes.
And but this used to be, Sal, you never even saw this. This room and this room used to be like a storage closet, all filled with boxes and blah blah blah, and just storage. And then we came in, we were like, can we have a corner to do Palmcast? And then that's how it started, because we were in my office, which we're about to go visit.
Yes.
But before this was when the boxes were here, before even that, you know what it was? You know what this room was?
What was it?
It was the brothers, like Brother Hannon.
Yeah.
There used to be a lot of brothers. This was the brothers' wing.
Really?
Yes, so this was like I think this was like their living room or something.
Wow.
Now look out here. This balcony out here and everything, this was like their recreation area. And in there, which is now the players' space,
Yes.
that was actually their chapel. There was a brothers' chapel.
Really?
Yeah. Here, let's go through here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go grab my stuff.
All right. So you can see this is the communication center. Again, so kind of Farrell's, the Palmcast studio sort of set it in motion to get it done. But I'll show you where it all began.
Yes.
How you doing? So it all began when this was my office. Now it's Podcast Pete Kennedy's office. I think
I think it was.
he may be out right now, but this was it. This was the studio, and it was just a normal room. And then we moved down to our space.
Oh, I have to go.
Sal, say goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
It's been great. So.
Oh, sure, you got a selfie with him. I got you.
See you later.
See you later.
Thanks, Sal. Thank you.